Hey everyone, today's going to be a bit of a bonus, kind of different video for today. As you may have seen recently, we held a big long charity stream for the Trevor Project here on the channel. Went absolutely fantastically. Streamed for over 11 hours, it was crazy. It raised over $1.7 thousand for Trevor Project, which is insane. Seriously, thank you, thank you, thank you. And one of the milestones that we hit during the stream was kind of an interview conversation with Aaron Margolin, the Senior Global Brand Manager for the FNAF license over at Jazwares. A lot of people really liked that section, so I'm just going to upload the entire conversation here as its own separate video, so feel free to enjoy. Probably in the background, it's better to just leave it on and listen to it. So hopefully you guys enjoy. I'm gonna leave Aaron's socials linked down below. Please go show him some support. Aaron, if you're watching, thank you again so much for coming on. It was a pleasure talking to you. And if you guys enjoyed this kind of one-on-one conversation interview type content, please let me know. I'd love to do more. There it is. Aaron jump scare.
Lunge.
now we need an Aaron figure that has the jump scare capability.
Yeah, no, we need to put some mechanisms inside of me, little button on the back, yeah. But I think that'll sell for sure. People will want that.
Absolutely. Chat, let me know how Aaron's volume is, I guess, while we wait for that feedback to come in. Do you want to introduce yourself to maybe some chat members who aren't too familiar with you and your face?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So my name is Aaron Margolin. I'm the Senior Global Brand Manager of the Five Nights at Freddy's line at the toy company Jazwares. We're like the master toy partner, so you're going to be seeing, you might have over the past 2 weeks, but you're going to be seeing plush, more like different kinds of figures, different kinds of plush throughout, from now to the end of the year, and then, for the next few years, yeah.
So we originally planned actually to do a little interview, a little Q&A for the channel whenever you got back from SDCC, because you had a big reveal recently over there. So I guess we can do like a little mini version of that here. I know you guys have a lot of big merch coming up later in the year, and also, like you said, merch hitting some store shelves right now, some online stores right now. How was that first reveal been, that first release of those products?
No, it's been great. It's been really, really amazing. So I kind of give a little background info on me, especially. Like I used to be a part of the Pokemon team at Jazwares, and then when we got Five Nights, I was actually a big part of like the pitching process for that, because I've been a Five Nights fan since day one, since the first game came out. For me, it was this big like, oh man, I really feel like a fan first mentality would be really great to lend to a Five Nights toy line, especially like a master toy line. I feel like we can do maybe some stuff that people have not, other partners have not done before. And then it was like the heads down test taking process for like, I want to say 7-8 months before people really saw what we were, working on. The first reveal being at New York Toy Fair earlier this year, and then the first time like fans have really been able to see, like physically see the product in front of them, was at SDCC, and it was awesome. It was so cool to like have people run up to the booth and like look at the figures and look at the plush. And the great part about like Five Nights that's so unique, I think, and there are other brands that do this, but Five Nights is so unique that it's everyone of all ages, right? There are like little kids running up that are like super excited about, not just the plush but the figures too, and then adults too that grew up with the franchise like you and I. So it's so awesome to finally show all the stuff that the team has been so hard at work on, and then also knowing that like this is just the beginning, like we haven't even frankly properly set on shelves yet, so this is just the start. But we're already so excited with how happy people are with what they've seen so far.
Absolutely. I mean, that SDCC booth was packed. I saw videos, I saw photos. You had Sauce there, regular Sauce, in his incredible Freddy Fazbear costume. So many videos of that suit with your products. I mean, it seemed like, and the crowd would go wild at the presentation. So already, very early on to your product lifespan and, years with the license, like that's got to feel amazing, especially for the first wave.
It's been so cool. And yeah, I mean, when we got the license, I like every once in a while something will happen where it's like I'm like right about to go to bed, and then like a bolt of energy will hit me, and it's like, oh, I gotta go do this. And that's the cool part about that, is that it's a reminder to me whenever that happens. And it recently happened, as I mean, yeah, as recently as like maybe 2 weeks ago, where like something will hit me and it's like, oh, I have to go do this now because this is so exciting. One of the first things that I did after we got the license was, I'm right about to go to bed. I'm like, I need to make a list of like the people who like I want us to reach out to like work with or talk with, or like it was, you were like on the top of the list, but it's like, I mean, there's so few better, actually no, you are at the top, my friend, of news sources for this brand. And so it was like, oh, I gotta have Johnny like in this list, but the regular sauce was like number one as well in terms of the like that cosplay community and the animatronic build. I mean, such an unfathomable, like, talented individual, but also just like the team that the regular sauce works with. And such, it was so cool because like one of the highlights of the con for me was not just seeing that unbelievable classic Freddy costume and like how imposing it was to like talk to Fred, like you know, once the suit was on, I was like, oh, ooh,
there's no way to talk to regular sauce. It's only Freddy.
Oh no,
now.
that's Freddy. That's Freddy. And it was cool too because it had that level of magic where everyone treated it like it, you know, that's Freddy. And so like whenever Freddy was out, like I was referring to Freddy as Freddy because that's Freddy. And really one of the highlights for me was also just spending time out FNAF and then just talking shop and how excited we are about like the future of things, and not just with like the toy line, but just like everything for Five Nights. But really it just goes to show like this fan community and this community, it's like it's all just people who just love it, and everyone's so genuine, and that's the thing that, you know, I really wanted to make sure that we came off as like, no, like we're a part of that fandom too, like from the designers to the marketers to myself, like it's all about the fandom because man, this fandom is so unique and so special.
Absolutely. And you guys coming out of the gate haven't just released, you know, a couple plushies, couple figures here and there. It feels like you've gone all out with that first release of collectible figures, action figures, plushies, the Squishmallows, animatronic plushies. You got play sets on the way. So like you said, this is only just the beginning and you have so much more coming down the pipeline.
It's only just a bit too. That's the cool part, is that like even for the Comic-Con panel, which it does feel like I don't want to share, you know, I don't want us to be sharing things, and we don't really want to be sharing things too early because when people get excited about stuff, like I want to make sure that like at some point within the near future they can get that figure, that plush, whatever. But also SDCC was such a great opportunity to kind of show the future of the line, but also knowing that like, well, there are these things that are going to be surprises too that maybe we aren't going to announce with a big lead time ahead, right? Like there's a bunch of stuff coming out in spring of next year that I think will just kind of let, you know, maybe the fans find themselves. But yeah, no, it was really exciting, tipping my hand a bit at Toy Fair too, when I was asked, I believe by a gentleman named Benny Rose, when I was on his podcast, and he was like, would you do play sets? And I'm like, maybe. You know, my default thing that I say where it's like, I can't talk about this right now, you know, and that's not a yes or a no, is I always say like, well, you know, stay tuned, because we do have lots of plans. And so that was like the highlight for me. It's like, we can finally share the sets, and I'm telling you right now, I wish I could share them today, and honestly I would if we were closer to, it's a spring 26 thing.
Totally.
We'll show them more, I think, in the future. They look so good in person, so unbelievably good in person, and all of like the posters and the like working doors was like such a fun thing that our designers put in there, because it's like, yeah, of course you got to have the working doors, and the only way, I didn't mention this at the panel, but like in the play sets, the only way that you can make the doors work is by pressing down the door button, which like obviously that's not like, we didn't have to do that, but it's like, yeah, why not? Like the way the mechanism works is you have to press down the door button, and that's the way you open and close it. It's a small detail, but it's like, yeah, but that's what makes it feel more authentic, right? So yeah, this is just the beginning, Johnny. I some stuff that like I haven't openly talked about. There's some stuff that I think, again, we're just gonna let fans see. But the future of the line is it gets really big quite quickly, I think.
It's like little Easter egg hunting, going to Walmart, not knowing if you're gonna see a brand new product there. And I guess just for the folks at home, estimates on what type of stores, either in person or online, will get?
Let me kind of break it down, because I'd love to. I maybe I should have prepped the list. So I'll talk domestic, and then there's some stores I can throw out for like international as well. Because the cool thing about us is that we really focus on global growth. And I might sound a little businessman-y here, but it's actually really important. Five Nights has a really big global reach, especially after the movies came out, and a lot of territories in the world with horror, they can be a little bit shy, right? Like a little bit cautious, where it's like, oh, I don't know, is this horror? And the big thing that, like, a part of my job is really convincing these regions, hey, it's for everyone, and a lot of people really like it in your territories. And so, just to speak specifically on like the U.S., right? You are going to be seeing our products in Target, GameStop, Walmart, Amazon.com, .coms of I think most of these retailers. You're going to be seeing stuff at Hot Topic. At Comic-Con we revealed the Nightmarion exclusive, so that's a Hot Topic box lunch exclusive that you're going to be seeing later this year. But you might also be seeing our products show up at Five Below. You might also be seeing our products show up at your local drugstores like CVS, like Walgreens, depending on where in the United States you are. Maybe even at grocery stores as we get later into the year. Your Kroger's, your Publix's, your Ralph's, and your Vaughn's if you're in California. Your Piggly, maybe not a Piggly Wiggly. That's one that I grew up with in the Midwest. So we're the plan is everywhere in the United States. Everywhere that's going to take us, we definitely want fans to have access to the products, because that, again, we just know that the fan base, it's very broad. We don't want anyone to be kind of left out. And then when it comes to like other retailers, I'll just, like, from the top of my head, we are going to be at Big W in Australia. We are going to be at Smith's and Game Store in the UK. We are going to be at, oh my goodness, Walmart Mexico in the Mexico territory, of course, but specifically like CDMX was a huge thing that I got a lot of DMs about on Instagram and Twitter. Like, are you going to be in Mexico City? Yes, absolutely. Nice. And like Latin America, I know, has been very underserved when it comes to official Five Nights products, and like that's a big thing that I specialize in terms of like visiting that team and communicating with that team and being like, guys, fans want Five Night products in territories, again, that like traditionally don't have Five Nights products. Because again, like, as much as I can be a businessman about things and, talk about like growing a business, for me, it's also about like, where are the fans? How can we, and plush and so on and so forth.
I think that's probably one of the best mindsets to have going into this, especially with folks outside the US, because like you said, FNAF has evolved so much. And there was an article, I believe earlier this year, from Stryker themselves, who is like, like FNAF is really growing in like Europe and Asia. So I think the fact that you guys are really focused on global growth is fantastic, making sure no one's left out. Even with, I believe you've said in the past, like exclusive merchandise, if a product is exclusive to a store, it's not a guarantee, but you'll try to find a way to make it accessible to everyone.
I can talk a little bit about that too, because that's so exclusivity is a really interesting thing, because they, it depends on who does what, and I'm not gonna like, I can't show you exactly how the sausage is made, right? But what I can say is, like, for us, especially when it comes to like exclusivity, because there's certain territories that are like a little bit more like they're just starting off with their Five Nights, right? So like, yeah, I mean, maybe it might take some time for certain characters and certain plush that are exclusive in the United States to go to those territories. But like, what I can say is the goal of my team is to say to these, when the buyers come in, right? Like, I am, the representative from the UK, right? And I'm going to get these products in stores. What I try to do is say, hey, like, here's the appeal of this character. Here's the appeal of this brand, Five Nights as a whole. If you've got a collector base that's really big, you're going to want to carry this Nightmarion, right? And that's like, I know that it can get really dicey and kind of tricky depending on who it is too, because certain manufacturers, certain partners do things differently. For us, it really is like a, if you build it, they will come kind of situation. It's like, no, like, let's try to get these things everywhere. It just might not be, maybe it might not be this year, but it could be next year. Sometimes it just takes a little time, especially as the waters get a little more warm. I think that second movie is going to be such a smash hit across the world that a lot of people are going to, be like, oh, hey, wait a minute. Like, what more can be done with Five Nights? So even like outside of that, I do think that the fan base is becoming more and more worldwide, like it feels like every day at this point, but like every year, let's say every year.
Yeah, the movie especially really opened up full-on dedicated FNAF displays now, with a whole range of products, posters in the windows. Around that movie, it was crazy, and I feel like for the second one, it's just going to get even
so
more
cool.
crazy, even more massive. Yeah, so going back to your product range, I think the most products that people have seen so far are those plushies and those figures. You know, for the FNAF 1 plushies, you got the original gang, you got the puppet in there. And then for those collectible figures, or sorry, for the action figures that have the jump scare capability, you went with the toys first. Was that to go alongside the movie? Like, was it always going to be those toys first?
So it's cool because there were a few ways, and I mentioned this on I think I've tweeted about it or Zerd. I don't know what the X everything app version is, but whatever it is, I think I've openly like shared that, like, again, big fan, have been for a while. I have actually created a handful of different approaches on how we want to do like character selection, and the way that the first range goes is, does it so happen to align with like the new movie with the toy animatronics in Wave 1 for the World of Figures? Yeah, like it's a just so happens because these are the video game versions. If I were to do, if I were to approach my team and say, let's do movie, versions of the toy animatronics, I think we'd actually approach them a little bit different just to, there are going to be some nuances. I think there's some color changes. I think there's some, detail changes that are different between what we've seen so far in the latest trailer of like the Wizards, of the toy animatronics. So I do think we'd call it that's like, yes, we're going to do the toys here, we're going to do the Wizards and the classics for Endo series, but that definitely wasn't on an extremely great foot, and then really build things out from there. And fans are really going to see starting in spring how expansive things are going to get across really the entire line, not just in the figure forms, but plush as well. But yeah, no, let's see where, I think I have Freddy here. I didn't realize I was gonna have to plug in, so I might have to unplug, but yes, the features, or the World ofs, really, really happy with how these have come out, especially because like, I still think that this is kind of wizardry.
Yes.
Our designers, Marcelo Martinez and John Rosella, were our designers on Wave 1. Like, this is so exciting to me because this is one of those things where it's like, it's an action figure, right? Like, there are certain types of figures that you can do, and to me, I wanted really good articulation while also like an action, right? Because this is something that should appeal broadly. It should appeal to the older fans, the younger fans, but even if I don't know about Five Nights, right, and I wanted to buy an action figure for someone who is a fan of Five Nights, especially if they're like younger, this is a great thing that, you can buy for someone that has good detail, looks good on shelf, but also has something about it that is fun to play with, and honestly fun to fidget with.
Right?
I
was looking
when
at
I'm
that,
at my
I was
desk,
like, I can see myself just doing that on my desk.
when I'm at my desk, I'll be on a call and I'll just kind of be like, yes, no, that's good, that's really, really good, and I'll just like at home I'm fidgeting with the feature here. But really happy with how these have come out, and I'm so happy with how fans have been responding to these as they've hit Target store shelves. It's been really exciting to see how much people like these as figures, but also again as like action figures.
The figures have glowing eyes, or is that just the plushies?
Yeah.
They both?
Every product in our core line, like, so when I say core line, I mean there are other extensions of Jazwares product, a great one being Squishmallows, right? The Squishmallows have been hitting store shelves. Those do not have glowing eyes, but every item in our core line has glowing eyes. The figures have glowing deco over the eyes.
Gotcha.
And then the plush have glowing, there's actually a material that has that reactivity that allows them to glow in the dark. And the plush especially are like, if you charge those things up, I have scared myself multiple times in my apartment. Like, as I go to work very early, and I go to work before the sun rises, and I will just like walk by the core crew as they're just staring at me in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I remember you posted a photo of their glow-in-the-dark eyes, and it looks crazy. And I think the best part about that as well, when they're not glowing, when they're just in the daytime, it doesn't even look like they have, like a lot of merch has very clear, very apparent, oh, that's glow-in-the-dark material. But with these plushies,
that like lime greeny to it, right?
Absolutely. And in the past we've had certain products that change the material entirely, change the colors entirely, just because it's glow in the dark.
Hold on, I do have to unplug. I actually have the plush right here.
Yeah.
Because I know that fans have really only gotten to see them through I think some close-up photos were taken. No, those were actually protos. So of the final ones, hold on
Sure.
one moment. So yeah, no. So the cool thing here, right, is you've got the stylization for us when because certain other partners have done different approaches to like stylization of like the prize corner plush, right? And for us, we wanted something that it definitely like cute factor is like as at an all-time high as possible, but making sure we're retaining the coloration. So like yeah, I mean even if you get close up to the eyes there, like you would never tell that there is a glow in the dark material, and I think that's just because for plush it's different than for figures. There tends to need to be that coloration, but now because there's glow in the dark paint instead of like glow in the dark material is normally that like lime greeniness. But you don't really see any of that here. And then as a PSA to anyone who, maybe loses out on the luminosity of the glow-in-the-dark plush, it is charged by UV light. So the easiest way to charge your glow-in-the-dark paint, your glow-in-the-dark material, is just like hold up the eyes to any sort of light source. And generally the UV is going to be retained by that material. So by the time you shut the lights off, they'll be staring right back at you. I got Freddy here, and then we'll do Freddy and Chica. Chica with Mr. Cupcake.
I was going to say, love the addition of the cupcake.
Mr. Cupcake for classic Chica it's a completely different approach for the toy Chica. So it's actually we're going to be using a different material for the different Mr. Cupcake that toy Chica has in Wave 2 that we announced at SDCC. But yep, with the bib and the pattern there. Bonnie. Very important here too, because one of the things that the ears tend to be a little bit different on different iterations of Bonnie is we do have the little bit of the crooks in the ears there. As it's referenced in the, I almost said show, in the games. And so used to the Pokemon because we did do stuff for the show. And then Foxy. Love Foxy. So the fun thing here that we did some studies on in terms of Foxy is that the way that the Foxy plush in the game universe works is that there is this partition section here, and so we're like, well, do we want there to be a wraparound thing here? And so we just decided, well, no, let's go for authenticity and just have the patch kind of stop around where the ear is. All of the 8-inch plush were designed by Melissa Nawas. She's an unbelievable designer. She was like and big Five Nights fan. So for us, it's always like let's have the fans in our team in our company be the ones that are giving their passes and giving their designs on our product, because fans know, I say this all the time, fans know when circles are circles and when they're not circles. Like, they know if it's perfect or not, they know if it feels authentic or not. And she and I have geeked out for hours and hours and hours about Five Nights at the office. She's such a true blue fan that it made perfect sense to tap her in, because not only is she talented, but she knows the brand so well.
Having FNAF fans part of the team always, from what I've seen for FNAF companies across the years, always results in better products. And so to hear that you guys have so many FNAF fans who have been on the team, who are on the team, who have been fans for years and really do cherish these characters, it really comes across with the products. It really comes across with what you guys say online. Because I know I've seen you make tweets about FNAF characters that I've forgotten existed. You made a tweet about some, like right after Secret of the Mimic, some obscure character there. And I was like, I just played this game for like 30 hours. And I had forgotten about that character. So you guys really pay attention.
Who was that? Oh, it was the goose.
It was the goose, yes.
It was the Jester Duck or whatever. Yeah. I don't know if it has like an official name now. I like Jester Duck. I would like, listen, the line needs to be successful, everyone, because I want to make a Jester Duck product and I need to be able to rationalize it. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, first off, that introduction or the intro show of Secret of the Mimic was such a like, all right, here we go. Like it was such a great sequence in that game. And for me, right, because I can't just enjoy anything that I work on anymore, right? I'm watching it going, oh my gosh. Oh, I got to try to make figures and plush of so many of these guys, like, so it was a lot of like compartmentalizing, like, oh, do I do this, do I do this? But yes, Jester Duck, we'll call Jester Duck. Definitely top of my list, y'all. Love Jester Duck.
We'll have a petition going. I'm actually quite curious because on the topic of so many obscure characters here, and you talk about so often wanting to make sure that, you know, every FNAF fan out there has a favorite character. Whether it's niche or super well known,
Yes.
you want to make sure that you can try to satisfy everyone. Is there a line, or I guess what is the line, because I'm sure there is, between a character being too niche to make into a product or having to like stick to the icons, if you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so yeah, and that's like I'll do like there's an answer, there's a normal answer for me, and then there's like the businessman answer, and like I can kind of fuse them two together. So the big thing here is this. To me, yes, there is no character that is too niche, because for me, I believe firmly that every character, especially every character that like really shows up now maybe not in the like the introduction sequence in Secret of the Mimic, because a lot of those just show up and maybe they don't, you know, permeate.
Right.
But like I'll take a great example here, is that like Mycelium Men. I guarantee you that there's like at least 100 people in the world whose favorite Five Nights characters are the Mycelium Men, and I love that. I embrace that. I think that should be, you know, respected. If you're in a place of like, I'm going to make Five Nights product in any capacity, shirts, you know, acrylics, anything, yeah, you're gonna hopefully be making product of someone's favorite. And so the way that we're going to approach that is, again, we have a long contract, we have a long plan, we have many years planned out. Maybe it's not going to be a year one thing. Maybe just because, remember, this also has to be a business that grows, but also have faith that as a team of fans, respecting the fan base, yeah, we're going to try to slide in those characters, right? So what character is like too niche? And the one that I always default to, because I don't find him too niche, but he doesn't show up a lot, right, is Egg Baby. I always joke about like, oh, well, like we're going to get the Egg Baby. Or like, oh, when are we going to get the, you know, like the control module guys from what's little Rob, little Joe, there's
Little
like
Joe,
a little like
yes,
bobblehead,
Little Joe.
yeah. Like, listen, I have no problem doing a Little Joe figure, plush, etc. It's got to make sense at some point, but also like I don't think that there is ever going to be a point in which we're like, oh, Little Joe? No, we're not going to do Little Joe because he's too D-side. It's like, no, like maybe we pack Little Joe with a Freddy or something, right? Like so if I'm a person who maybe is not super familiar with Five Nights, I go to Target and I'm like, oh cool, it's Freddy, and it comes with this other little guy. But if I'm a Five Nights fan, I'm like, oh my god, it's Little Joe. All right,
yes.
like, I'm gonna pick this up, right? So you know, you got to be a little businessman-y, right? But that's the way that, like, for a product line that goes on retail store shelves, right? That's not just like, you know, going to be, you know, shipped to 3 people or anything like that. We got to kind of find a puzzle, the way to solve the puzzle, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. At least for the figures, they're starting off with the toys, then moving on to, as we saw at Comic-Con, FNAF 1 figures. Would you say that you're probably going to go in line of like how the games go, like 3, then 4, or are you just going to bounce around and see whatever catches your interest?
Some bouncing is going to happen. I'm choosing my words very carefully. Some bouncing is going to happen. But here's what I can promise, because I've seen a lot. I've tried to like keep an eye on the chat, you know, and I know that there's like, I'm happy to answer some questions after, you know, you and I are like chatting and stuff like that. What I will say is this: the plans that we have built out encompass the history of Five Nights. And when I say that, I mean, it would, as a storyteller, would not feel right to start a story and then finish it incompleted, right? Like in an incomplete state, right? So if we do start a group of character, I do not want 4 years to pass and we never, you know, could you imagine if we never did a Mangle in our 5-inch figure? Like to me, it would feel incomplete. And it's up to us to try and find a way to make each of those characters make sense in character groupings. To answer your question though, there is going to be some hopping around, but the goal is for every like major Five Nights installment to have at least one full grouping of core characters. And yes, that includes, you know, and I'm not confirming anything within a set period of time, but of course that includes Pizzeria Simulator. Of course that includes Sister Location. Those are core parts of the Five Nights franchise. What I'd like for us to do is, as we do that, also go into the books. Also go into like go into the fanverse. I mean, I'm such a huge fan of Pop Goes. You know, there's a long timeline, and for me and for the entire, you know, team that I work with, design, marketing, brand, everyone, you know, we have that the hearts and minds of like that fan base, you know, in our minds. But yeah, sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. There's going to be a little bit of hopping around, I'd say.
That's totally fair. And for your license, obviously I won't get too in-depth with it, but you mentioned the books and the fanverse. Is it safe to assume that your license includes pretty much all stretches of media, from the books to the games to the movies? Totally fine if you can't answer it.
No, no, no. I'm pretty sure it is every single thing. The within like Five Nights, including the fanverse. That I do know. What I can say though is, like, you know, I brought up the movie, right? Like, so if we were going to do classic, the Freddy Fazbear, right, from the movie, I would want to make sure that we have some sort of line of differentiation from classic Freddy in, you know, the video game version from a physical standpoint, just because A, it makes it make more sense if I'm a collector. I'm not just buying the exact same thing. But also just like there are little nuances. So yeah, no, that's we kind of want to go a little bit of everywhere. The primary focus for, I'll call it year 1 and year 2, you're definitely going to see mostly video games, because that is what is most known. And also there's a lot of characters that we know haven't had product. So like, you know, I want to fill in those blanks for a lot of people's collections.
And speaking of blanks, with the play sets,
yeah.
So those are starting with the spring 2026 releases with the FNAF one, guys. Do you have any plans, maybe not right now, but in the future, getting some playsets with those first wave?
I'll half answer this.
Totally fine.
You know, wave 1 just has the toy animatronics. So stay tuned.
All right.
There's a lot of characters in Five Nights too, right? So stay tuned.
There is a lot. There is a lot. And speaking of FNAF 2 characters, some FNAF 2 characters that do show up in merch that we've seen are the Endo series, which I'd say, totally not, you know, sucking up to here, is one of the most innovative kind of merchandise I've seen in a while. Being able to actually put together an animatronic with the suits, with the Endo, absolutely fantastic. Getting 2 characters in one pack, technically 3 with the Endo there. I think you've mentioned the backstory of wanting to do something like this for a while, and to finally see it come to fruition and have it turn out so good must be great.
Yeah, so I can, and one part of the showcase here, and I saw people have been commenting on it. Yes, there are some there's maybe a Chica there, and there I put Foxy on the ground there, because we have revealed at SDCC the rest of Wave 1. I do actually have Chica and Foxy that I can share, and I actually would like to show the build of classic Chica to Endo to withered Chica, because by the way, and just to kind of pause really quickly, I love that you're doing this, Johnny. It's so cool. I mean, this is such a, like, unbelievably, the Trevor Project is such a deserved charity to be donating to be able to participate. It's exciting just in general. Obviously, like, I love talking to you. I love talking about the product line, but what you're doing is so cool. And I wanted, you know, when I was getting clearance for this, it's like, no, like, we should, you know, we have so much that we can't announce quite yet, but like, I would, you know, I was like, yeah, let's give a little bit of a closer look at what we revealed at Comic-Con. So again, it's so cool that you're doing this. Endo series, yes, my baby. So when we were pitching for the line, one of the things that I wanted us to do is do an innovation on a collector figure segment, knowing that there is always going to be a like $20 to $30 price point demand for at retail, right? So a reminder that this is a $10 figure. It is an action figure, and this Endo and the pieces is our collector figure. I will also throw out, because I do get a lot of DMs and asks about this, and this is like a half stay tuned, but this is just one of some potential other planned collector segments that we have for the future. But we just thought that this would be a really cool one to launch with. The magic of being able to take apart and put back together an endo endoskeleton, and then being able to build out the character from the games in the way that they basically do appear, right, in the series, getting the fidelity was so important. And I don't know if it'll register here, but like being able to see the Endo's mouth inside, that's not a separate tool situation. No, there is literally an endoskeleton in here that has an articulated mouth. All in all, you are getting multiple points of articulation, but you're also getting a kind of pseudo construction situation that is on brand and feels authentic, right? So this is a fully articulated mouth. And so is Freddy's jaw, because Freddy's jaw attaches to the mouth. And that level of innovation was something that I felt that fans had never, you know, some partners have done it before. A lot of like great, you know, I think DIY stuff has kind of touched on this, but a big thing was like, well, shoot, the endoskeletons are literally within the characters, so why not try to bring that to life? So when we were pitching for the property, I kind of sketched out like you know, I did some bad illustrations, and then I like sent to a designer like collectible figure where you can build out characters with the endo frames and it comes with costume pieces. Can we do this? Question mark. And then like bad illustration of like wireframe. I can do a lot of things. I'm a sound designer. I can voice act. I can, you know, compose music and all that stuff. I cannot draw. I'm a horrible designer. So I sent it out to the designer, and what I got back was a 3D render of, you mean this?
Jeez.
Oh my God. And it was like, all of a sudden it was like, oh, I think we can do this. And so that's kind of where the Endo series began. And to have it reach this point is so exciting, because the level of fidelity, and I'll actually hold up Withered Freddy, the level of fidelity that we are able to achieve because of that, right? This is not a part of Withered Freddy's leg. This is the exposed endoskeleton, the way that the Withered animatronics have exposed parts. Doing the level of detail, I mean, and I know something that got us some good brownie points. The detail of classic Freddy has only bottom teeth.
Yes.
Withered Freddy has top teeth. That is not a deco hit, everyone. Those are tooled changes, because we want to make sure that we hit all the details that fans are looking for. I can show Bonnie really quick, and then I feel like, would you like to see Chica and Foxy? So Bonnie, very happy with Bonnie. I think this, and then like, you know, the articulation's really good, and they can do all these different poses. Obviously the benchmark pose for me was, can they do their jump scare poses,
yes,
right? Open their mouth, close. Oh, also something that a lot of people, I know that people are not, you know, the articulation is so good. We can't do articulation in the heads of some of the World of figures, because they need the mechanism to be able to connect to. Well, if you would like articulated heads, everyone, don't worry. These are fully articulated heads on our Endo series figures. And then so who would you like to see first? Or do we want like maybe chat to decide, Chica or Foxy?
Chat? Seeing a lot of Foxy love in the chat.
A lot of Foxy. Okay, so Foxy's fun because Foxy already has a lot of pieces that are exposed, right?
Yes.
Because Foxy, you know, Foxy's under repair a little bit in the Pirate Cove. So the cool part about this figure is this figure does have like a kind of unique approach to the way that the legs work, because it does not have kind of leg costume pieces. They've kind of worn away. But you know what's cool about that is like you have a really free articulation range, and this isn't just like knee joints either. Like we actually have ankle joints for the endos. And then, you know, you can actually do a lot of like, there's a lot of rotating that you can do. This might come in handy if you're trying to do like different mix and matches, if you so choose. Another cool part about the Foxy here is, and I believe this is lore accurate, I don't want to just like look it up and cheat here. Foxy does in fact have 2 eyes, right?
Yes, he does, yeah.
So Foxy does in fact have 2 eyes.
There we go.
You know, to save things, we didn't just remove 1 eye. It is lore accurate. And cool thing about this too is it actually does come with and you know, for those who maybe don't know, you can pop the hands and you can actually pop most of the pieces off of these endos, including the feet, the hands. So you can pop off the hooks, as this does come with classic and feature Foxy. You can, if you wanted to have Foxy have 2 hook hands or 2 normal hands, you could if you so chose.
Take away his pirate.
Yeah, make him. Yeah, I'm unpirating your Foxy.
Unpirates your Foxy.
But yeah, I really really love the again, to me it's always like, can we make, the pose, and we've already announced that Fox is going to be in the world of, right? So like just like him like leaning out, right,
Yes.
with the mouth open. Can we do that? Is that something that we can replicate? So the fan photographers, right? Like, I love toy photography. Like, I want us to, really incentivize people to want to do that as well. So yeah, so here's Foxy. I'll get a little closer to. I'm not gonna, just because I don't want to share everything, I'm not gonna share Withered Foxy today. That'll have to come later, but I will. I will be able to show more of Chica.
Perfect. And yeah, if you
Yeah,
guys
they're
want to get
there.
live updates on all the Jazwares products, I'm going to post Aaron's Twitter actually in the chat. And with how bendable the legs are, that's going to be good for making Foxy look like he's running.
One of the things that you can see it a little bit better, I think, on Withered, yeah, is the drop down hips. Just because I think his hips go up a little, or Fox's go up a little bit, but there is drop down hips,
Ooh,
which
okay.
does allow for greater range of articulation when you want them to do poses, like
Sit
you want
down.
them to sit. Yeah. There might be a specific type of character that it's essential for that character to be able to, gosh, I don't know if you'd call that sit,
Yeah.
but slump over is a very,
Slump over.
probably more accurate. But, who knows? And then, how about Chica?
Yes.
So Chica, really happy with how Chica looks. Love how Chica came out. Again, drop down hips there, full articulation there. To the jump scare pose. You can see on the inside. Chica's more, the build of the figures. What's fun too is seeing the level of differentiation in the dimensions of their torsos, right? These are all Endo 1, right? They're all from the original Endo frame. But one of the things that, we want to do is make sure that we retain, there's a little bit more rotundness, let's call it, for Chica. So
Yeah.
let's try to capture that. Still having, we can also do tilt points too. That's another big point of articulation too. Full articulation here. Full articulation for Foxy's head. Again, like, it's 20 plus points of articulation. And a reminder too, you get the pieces for a Withered animatronic, you get pieces for a classic animatronic, and then Endo 1 as a fully articulated figure for, at retail, $25. Because that was very important, is like, we want something that is high quality, that is fun to play with and fun to, you would pose it on your shelf, but also something that allows you to, as I oftentimes say, save up your allowance money, especially if you're a kid. It might be hard to get some products that's more expensive. I want to make sure that kids are able to buy this as well as adult collectors too, and it doesn't break the bank. We can chat about other stuff too while I build Withered Chica.
Perfect. Look at that. Yeah, as you mentioned, I love having accurate proportions, body types for the characters. Like, you're not just reusing the molds, you're getting as detailed and as accurate to what the characters look like as possible. That's fantastic.
These two are going to be on shelves next month, I think, at GameStop. I've been telling people October. It's like everywhere in October, but I believe these are going to be at GameStop next month. So that is Endo 1 Classic Bonnie, Withered Bonnie, Endo 1 Classic Freddy, Withered Freddy, and then in December of this year, it's going to be Endo 1 Classic Chica, Withered Chica, Endo 1 Classic Foxy, Withered Foxy. And Wave 2 we did announce at Comic-Con.
Yes.
We announced Wave 2 with Endo 2, and y'all, Endo 2 is so much fun to articulate. I love the different builds of the Endo skeletons, so I was like very curious to see how Endo 2 would be. Oh my goodness, I think fans are going to love the way that we're doing Endo 2 and the characters that we're doing. As I said, we cast our net very wide. There's some interesting things that we're going to be doing.
And then also at SDCC, on the topic of Endo, you also revealed a Vault exclusive of Shadow Freddy.
Shadow Freddy, yeah.
Can you explain a little bit how the Vault works, how people can get their hands on Shadow Freddy?
Absolutely. So, JazwaresVault.com is our direct-to-consumer service. So, if you're familiar with some of our the other lovely members of the Five Nights at Freddy's licensee, what's it called? Environment ecosystem. There it is. U2's. I love U2's. I think that their product is phenomenal. They do a great e-com business. It's going to be the same deal as U2's. So, if you were to, actually, no, it's not. Sorry, not going to be the same deal as U2's. It's just an e e-com platform. So if you were to go to JazwaresVault.com, we are going to be launching that within the next few months. I don't have a specific date, so I don't want to like guesstimate, but we are getting ready to launch Shadow Freddy. So that is going to be a variation of it's Endo 1 with classic Freddy pieces and Shadow Freddy. That does include entirely, bespoke a lot of the detail of Shadow Freddy that we've tried to execute, in addition to like different eyes for the Endo. A great one, as I start deconstructing Chica here, is a reminder that all the eyes do pop out. The eyes for Shadow Freddy are very different, and so for us, that is one of the big things that we wanted to do, is as we start completing character collections, what variations of characters would be meaningful for fans to get, and a lot of those you're going to be seeing on Jazwares Vault. It is, I think I did announce the SRP on that one. It is going to be $30. So it's going to be a kind of a limited edition, but I will say that we're not trying to gate out characters. So if you miss out on, and this is a huge one for me because I firmly believe for a brand like Five Nights, fans come into the fandom every single year. So if I'm, I don't know about Five Nights this year, and then in 2 years I become a big fan. Oh man, I really want Shadow Freddy.
Yeah.
Ah man, I didn't buy it 2 years ago. That's like not the way that we try to do things at all. We will be bringing things back, but that first drop is going to be sometime soon. And when it sells out, there might be some time between the restock. I can't speak like for absolute certainty, but I will say that, the goal is to never retire, especially a beloved character. Never really retire them, just potentially bring them back in a different way.
And then another question I see a lot about the Endo series are Endos being sold separately. Is that something you've considered? Is that something you can't speak on just yet?
So I'm doing a lot. So we as a team, and me personally, we're doing a lot of exploration. We're doing a lot of explorations on ways to ensure that fans are able to make those purchases meaningful. Again, this is just the beginning, and I hate repeating that, but it is kind of important because a lot of stuff is coming down the pipeline. So stay tuned on that. It is something that we are having conversations about. How do we better allow fans to, if I have Classic Freddy and Withered Freddy pieces, and I want Classic Freddy and Withered Freddy, like we're thinking about ways to allow people to do that. And if they want to, if you want to purchase both, you absolutely can purchase both. But also, like meaningful storage of the pieces too is something that we are having conversations about.
Chad, if you have any specific questions,
yeah, please hit me with some questions. I'm just slowly and methodically, stripping this endo frame to its bare pieces here. One thing that I will actually share too, again, like I want to give the designers credit because I think they've done such an amazing job. Classic Chica has two-pronged talons. Withered Chica has 3. We are not going to just repeat stuff. We're going to try to get it all right? So that was a big thing, is like, guys, we got to get the amount of talons that Withered Chica has correct.
Going back to the old 2014 days of counting toes to keep track of characters. Actually, when did you say you've been a fan for a while? When exactly did you join on FNAF?
Oh man, okay, so I love telling this story because I still get harassed by my college roommates. So FNAF came out when I was in college. I was, I believe, a freshman in college, I want to say. So FNAF came out when I was in college, and I was living with 4 other dudes in Chicago, and I think I want to say I watched the Markiplier Let's Play, but it might have been something else, but I'm pretty sure it was the Markiplier Let's Play where
for a lot of people it is.
This is like, man, this is an interesting thing. I'm gonna buy this and play it. And so I gathered my college roommates around, and I was like, we're going to play this horror game. We're each going to take turns. And they're like, what is this? What is this? The Chuck E. Cheese? Like, so no, it's its own thing, guys. So we gathered around in the living room and played FNAF 1. And it was a bunch of grown men screaming, getting terrified of FNAF. And that was the moment for me where I was like, oh man, this is fun. And then the lore started dropping, and for me, I'll use the Hideo Kojima-ism. Ludonarrative gameplay is like my jam. I love being able to participate in a story where it feels like I, as the fan, have an ownership over uncovering something. And when FNAF 2 really kickstarted, I think, and I don't know if you would agree, I feel like it's FNAF 2 that was really the kickstart of people participating in unraveling the story.
Yes.
Beyond just the missing kids incident. I think I was so... At that point, I was locked in. At that point, it was like, oh, I'm going to be a fan of this forever. And I've been a fan of it forever. I've never dropped off in my fandom of Five Nights. I've kept up with every one of them. I said it in the chat. The only FNAF game that I have not beaten is 4.
That is fair.
It's really hard. It's really difficult. I have a difficult time with the management of that one because auditory stuff for me, I feel like I'm slow on the draw on.
Yeah.
But I do love that game. It's one of my favorite ones. But no, I mean, I beat every single one of them. I've beaten FNAF World. I love FNAF World. I've beaten, pretty much everyone. I have not 100%ed any of the games, I believe, just because it's not the way I play games. But so I've been a fan since Jump.
11 years.
I know. Time flies.
Goodness.
It makes me feel really old.
There's a few questions in chat.
Nice,
Obviously,
yeah. I'm almost done with Chica here.
Yeah, I won't ask any specific characters or specific games because I'm sure you can't talk on those anyways. Human characters are usually not represented a whole lot in merchandise, just because typically it's the animatronics that are big front and center. Do you think at any point in the future you would like to explore those human characters?
So yes, the thing for me is always, and I mentioned this a little bit more freely, like authenticity is a big thing, and there's a lot of there are some characters that have canon looks. You know, we have a Mike look now, right? With the movie, and I mean we have a Mike, we have a William, like we do have canon looks. The trick for me is just I want to make sure that we use the canon looks, and there's certain characters that don't really have full canon looks.
Yeah.
That is one of the things that, like, and time may tell. Would we ever do human characters? Yes, absolutely. We're like, the plan is to do some human characters, and hopefully sooner rather than later. But I think the priority right now for us very much is doing the animatronics, because we know, not just because like, oh, they sell, but like I also think that there's a lot of demand for some of these characters that maybe haven't gotten their day in the sun quite yet, in figure and in plush form. But I absolutely would never say never on human characters, and I do think that there may be a plan to do some human characters in the future. Wink, wink.
Would you say, and not to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like generally, for the most part, it's never count out a character, you know? Especially with how dedicated you are to...
ever count out a character. That is like, I can say that can be one of the takeaways from this conversation here, is never count out a character. I think that there may be... Yeah, never count out a character.
Totally
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, just to thank you generally for coming on here. It's not often that we get such transparency. Yeah, you complimented me earlier. I would love to return the favor. You've been a pleasure to talk to. You are seriously super fun, super passionate about FNAF and these products. And from what we've seen, it's only just the beginning, but it sounds like we got a couple good years coming up with Jazwares and FNAF.
I hope so. And in fact, I know so. This fan base deserves that. This fan base deserves that level of clarity. This fan base deserves that level of quality. I grew up in a lot of fandoms. I grew up loving a lot of things, and I still love a lot of, I'm still a big member of a lot of different fandoms. And to me, Five Nights is young, right? Like 11, we may feel old because of 11 years, right? But it is young. Yes. It is a young fan base. It is a fan base that, we've only been around for 11 years and change. The opportunity to be able to serve this fandom has been an honor. It's something that has been deeply rewarding and exciting. And it's a challenge that is not a challenge in a bad way. It's like, how do I make sure that what we do is different? How do I make sure that what we do is of good quality? And how does everybody know that we care? Like that's been the big, and that's not a challenge, like, it's hard to accomplish. It's just, you have to be thoughtful. And so that's why, like, when I compliment you, it's not just a matter of just like, thank you for doing this. It's like, no, like, I know that you do really hard work to be the, FNAF reporter, to be the person that's first out the gate to announce something or share something in a way that is official and in a way that is professional. And like, I love that because that's something that I did a lot with Pokemon when I was working on the Pokemon fan base. I was working with Cerebi.net. I was working with PokeJungle. And so like, it's like a real recognizes real situation. So it's been so much fun. It's been so much fun. And I really do hope that people see the, passion coming through. I am just going to put some finishing touches on our withered Chica with a dropped down jaw. That was a big thing with the design team, that it was like, no, like Withered Chica has this jaw situation that's very scary. I always find this to be magic. I always find this to be kind of like a magic moment, is like the moment that you can put the face piece on. So something that's cool too is like the way that the eyes are seated, and you might not be able to tell, is like Withered Chica's eyes kind of have this like,
yes,
the framework is like worn out. And so having that, but like, again, like, and the tassels, let's call them, the exposed wiring, are articulated. So you can do like different poses. You can have like the different, her T pose is like kind of outwards. But yeah, no, looks weird with the jaw closed. Yeah, I totally seeded that wrong. That's what I get for multitasking. I was never a Lego guy too, so it's like these things are so much fun for me to kind of like, again, it's like almost a fidget thing where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna build one of these, right?
Yeah.
I'm really happy with how the line has come out, and I'm really happy that fans seem to, resonate with what we're doing and just keep communicating with us. That goes to everyone. Like, there we go.
Hey.
That's a little better. I think that's a better look.
Is.
Yeah. I seeded the jaw wrong. And listen, it goes through. You never see that.
Yeah.
That was something that the first I was like, why does that look weird? It's like, oh, because we never see Withered Chica's jaw
fully closed. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I love what we've been able to do, and I think that the future's incredibly bright for us. I've seen a lot of stuff that's coming down the pipeline, and I really think that there's a lot for people to be excited about.
How long does your current license span till, if you can reveal?
It is until the end, I believe, of 2028 off the top of my head. So we have 3 full years, y'all, of figures and plush. Oh, I did promise to show Nightmarion. Where did I put Nightmarion?
In classic Nightmarion fashion, they're hiding. There we go.
I've been marked for death.
Right? Check the closet.
Maybe I don't know. That was so. This is a part of the lore that I did not know about until the regular sauce was like, oh yeah, like some people think that the Nightmarion is like death, and I'm like, oh, that's fun. That's lovely.
Let's turn him into a fun plushie.
let's
the
turn
Grim
him into
Reaper.
Adorable I mean, listen. Plushies show up, right? So cool part about this guy, right, is and I'll show real close, and I did mention this in the nostalgic Adam video, but we did do embroidery for the ribs.
Yes.
And you do not see that obviously for the puppet or the marionette. Obviously different factors for the character. This is the Halloween update. And then again, a reminder too, this is just the beginning. I think it's super important to mention is that like this is one thing, this is another thing, and this is another thing. World of Figure, Endo series collector figure, and 8-inch plush. Will there be other types of plush? Yes. Will there be other type of figures that are not World of? Yes. Will there be other collector figures? Yes. Just, this is just the beginning.
You'd slightly teased other versions of the plushies. There's a big, was it 48-inch? Am I remembering that?
No.
No? Okay.
No, that'd be amazing.
Okay.
I think I misspoke, but it's better actually. I said I'm actually not going to say what was wrong. I will say what it is because I'm so proud of it. So at Target store shelves around the October timeframe, in the like the video game aisle area, because there's different places that different things can show up. If you're familiar with the Pokemon product line that we do, we actually have stuff that's in the toy aisle, in the collector space, and in the video game space. So this is going to be more in that collector. Yeah, it's the collector space, I believe. We are going to be having a 20-inch Freddy plush for $40.
Okay.
Which again, trying to be mindful of people's, you know, wallets and stuff like that. That plush is so good. It's so cute. I don't have him with me right now, but I'm so happy with how he's come out.
20. That is a lot more manageable measurements. I don't know where I got 48 from.
40.
Maybe
listen,
one day.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If actually many someones were like, I really want a 40-inch, you know, Freddy plush, like, listen, we got the material. I got the fabric. Like,
Chat,
we
can
do it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, DM Jazwares. I want to buy a 40-inch plush or big. We tested one out one time on a different team, and because think about like the weight gain gets really heavy. I like tried to lift it over my head, and I'm like, ooh, this is like 25 pounds of like damp, like not damp, but like dense plush over my head. You could really, you know, hit someone with it, it would knock them down. But yeah, actually, what I can share too, and I really like this is, I'll use the Nightmare Inn as an example, is like the way that we do plush thickness. So like this is generally thicker than some of the plush that I think other people have gotten of some of the characters. It allows us to like keep to the character that makes it very plushy, whereas for like the Nightmare Inn's mask, as well as like the puppet's mask, it's actually a different pile. It's a different thickness because it's wearing something, right? Same thing with actually, weirdly enough, the I don't know what you would call these, the rings or tasseling around the arms. We actually use a different thickness. There's a textural element to it too, but it's still always going to be cuddly. I don't want, you know, if you're having a plush fight with someone or a pillow fight with someone and you knock someone with the head of a plush, I don't want them to get concussed. It's all soft plush for us.
I won't take up too much of your time. Chat, do we have any final questions?
I'll answer. Let's do, I don't know, three more questions, and then I'll let you get back to playing. Or you started Pizzeria Simulator, right?
Yes, we did start Pizza Sim. I swiftly moved past Sister Location once I hit night 4.
And one thing that I'll actually cover across everything, because I noticed that this is a big one. If you're asking, are you going to be making Pizzeria Simulator, Security Breach, Secret of the Mimic, Sister Location, anything like that? The answer is, stay tuned. We have a plan. Like the team has a plan for covering off on the characters from across the franchise. So that won't count against the 3, because I feel like I've seen a lot of like, where's Sister Location?
Yeah.
Where's, it's like, don't worry, it's just you know, this is just the beginning. We haven't even fully set yet.
3 years is a long time. Oh, accessories might be a good one.
Accessories. Yes. So we are looking at doing accessories, and of the like, you know, I think that like, because listen, I got to give some respect to Mr. Cupcake. Mr. Cupcake is both an accessory and very much an animatronic into itself. So that's a stay tuned for sure, but like it's in our minds. It's something that we're kind of doing some work on, especially as we kind of build out World of and build out the Endo series. We do not want to leave some things behind, because like, hey, listen, you know, yes, there's not just Mr. Cupcake, there's some musical instruments, right? There's some set decoration that might be nice to include as accessories, so that's a stay tuned for sure.
Ooh, what are your favorite figures and products?
Oh, man.
If you can pick, I know it's probably like choosing a child.
I can though.
Oh, okay.
I love the Mangle. I love our Mangle figure. So, I must have, I nicked the bow tie off. I love this figure so much. I love that we were able to put in the like feature in both of the. This is actually funny enough. This is the exact figure that was in our SDCC display.
Oh, nice.
So I widged. Yeah, that's so funny. I was like, why isn't this articulating? It's because I wedged something to keep the mouth open during the display. Sometimes you gotta make do, y'all. It was like, I really wanted us to really focus on how to make the character special, and the take apart put back together thing was like, oh yeah, no, we're just gonna make it a complete deconstruction figure.
Yes.
And so if you wanted to have it, you know, a different, you know, now it's held up by one of the arms, one of the two right hands that it has, which was another new thing for me to relearn, that Mangle has two right hands.
Did not even know that.
But I looked at the model a bunch, and I kept on like looking at my own hands, but yes, no, two right hands. And I do know that some people have reached out about a lack of an appendage on this figure, and for that I can say stay tuned, because we are looking at different ways to do this character. But yes, I love this figure so much. I love that there's a customizability aspect to it, that you can literally take everything apart and put it together in different ways. This is a weird way to do Mangle, but you can do Mangle. If you wanted Mangle to look like this, you could. I love this figure. I really think we represented the take apart, put back together experience that, is in FNAF 2. And then on top of that, I really do love our plush. I think that the stylization that we've done, because there's a lot of really good FNAF plush out there, and there's a lot of ways to do stylizations of characters. I think that what we've done is we've done a good middle line of like representing the prize corner plush that exists in the game universe, while also doing kind of our own spin on things. The eyes are a little bit different for sure. But I'm really proud of that. And again, like Melissa, who's the designer, has done such an amazing job. And I'm just so excited for everyone to see like Wave 2 properly, because that I think the figures were represented a little bit better, but the plush, like you got to see plush in person. You got to see the dimensions. So I'm super excited for people to see that towards the end of the year.
You guys have really knocked it out of the park with Mangle. Both the figures and the plushie. As someone whose favorite character is Mangle, personally, thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. Listen, Mangle's such a cool character. Like, I love the amalgamation characters. I love oh my god, I love Ennard so much. Ennard is such a sick character. Would love to do an Ennard figure in plush one day. And also, like, for me, my whole thing is like, how do you make an Ennard plush cute? So who knows? There might be an answer to that in the future, Yeah,
that's always the fun part with those amalgamation characters is, okay, how can I it's like the challenge you were talking about earlier. How can we translate this into our products?
Yeah, the big question of just like, oh goodness, like, can I make oh god, like I'm trying to think of like is it, I mean, the Stitch Wraith just looks like an endo, so that's not really an amalgamation, but is it called the Melt? I always forget what is it Melted Freddy? It's not Melted. Molten Freddy.
Molten.
It's Melted, yeah. Molten. Thank you. I was like, there's Melted, Scorched. There's a lot of different fire.
There's so many.
But yeah, like Tangle. What would a Tangle figure look like? How big would you make a Tangle figure, right? So
that's your 48-inch plushie right there.
There's your 48, and it's twisted like cord plush.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, if people show up, if people buy the line, I'll say this, like, no character is too deep. If people buy the line enough, I can say Tangle is not an impossibility. Could we possibly get a big playset based off of the outdoor exterior of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria? I like that question. Maybe location. Location is so important to this franchise. I think that nothing is impossible when it comes to that. It's just a matter of, potentially when we get to it. I would love for us to do that. I think that there's a lot of locations, especially when we start getting into the, we see a lot of locations open up in Seeker of the Mimic. We see a lot in Security Breach. And I would be remiss if we could do the atrium in Security Breach, but I also would want to do, like, the Raceway.
Fazerblast.
Arcade? Fazblast, thank you. There's so many great locations. So, like, and then, yeah, the exterior of, especially if we were to do a movie one, that shot of Michael in front of the exterior of the pizzeria would be a pretty interesting thing to make a product of, so stay tuned.
I greatly appreciate you taking your time out of your weekend. I know it was very short notice.
No, my pleasure. And again, like, thank you for doing this. It's such a worthwhile charity, and good luck on the rest of it. I'm gonna hop out and do some stuff, but then I'm probably gonna come back and watch you probably by the time you're at Security Breach. And but it's amazing what you're doing. It's awesome what you're doing, and especially with the celebration of FNAF's 11th anniversary. My door is always open. Always happy to talk with you.
Of course. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for being so supportive, even offline. So talkative offline. I love talking to you. You're are doing fantastic work with Jazwares products. Chat, you've seen a whole bunch of stuff today. Some stuff is hitting stores, some stuff you gotta stay tuned for. Go show Aaron some support. Genuinely such a fantastic guy. I love talking to him. I could talk to him for hours and hours and hours. He's so awesome.